All right, so I just talked to my friend Charles, and I just got done working out. Shout out to you, Charles. And I was going over this idea in my head, and I thought I'd share it with everyone, even though, I don't know who's going to listen, and I don't really care, because this is more for me anyways. Hopefully you get something from it. I think we have a system already in place in which we can do something different. All these people are talking about taxing the rich and doing this, and then there's like, oh, well, we shouldn't tax, they made their money and yada, yada, yada. I think we can set up everything differently. Everything. My whole thing is consistency in life. Consistency is what matters the most. If you don't have consistency, you don't really have anything. Your arguments are invalid. You don't really know, what it is you contribute if you aren't consistent with yourself. So my whole thing is, why do we have taxes and why do we have all this money thing when we already have a system set up, especially with what we built? I mean, honestly, the people that are in power kind of screwed themselves by giving us too much, because now we're all getting on the same level. You see a person that's rich, they have the same phone as you, right? We're getting to the point where cars are getting cheaper, and they should be getting cheaper. Houses are getting way too expensive for everybody. We're not sharing in that, and even though that's shelter. Back in the day, we used to work like 2 hours a day. 2 hours a day. Imagine that. Imagine working 2 hours a day for survival, right? You get your groceries. You just pretty much go gather food, and then what you do on top of that is hold on. I was getting sick of that glare. What happened is, after the 2 hours of working, you bonded. You bonded with your friends. You bonded with your family. You were able to just hang out and pretty much be on vacation most of the time. We did it better than any other system out there. And yeah, we had times where we were starving and it was hard and we had to figure things out. But at least we were together, starving together. Now we're all starving separately. You have people that are starving that aren't well off because of the way the system works. And the system is corrupt to begin with, because a lot of people go, if you don't have incentive of money, you won't work. And I'm like, wait, the only reason people work is because of money? That seems like a bad system to have. If you're working only for money, that's not a system at all. Now, I know we have to work, we have to do certain jobs that maybe some people don't want to do because of the fact that, we have things that are kind of dirty. Mike Rowe does it all the time, dirty jobs. But to have a system set up so the incentive is not money. It's community, it's love, it's togetherness, it's vacation, it's all this other stuff. To have that incentive makes more sense to me than having the incentive of money. Money is pretty much taking from others in a way in which you don't want them to see. And that's how the system is worked out, right? Congressmen get richer and richer and richer, and then people that can figure out how we work. So to figure out the animal inside. I mean, look at grocery stores, look at gas stations. They're all about selling you crap. There's no healthy food in there. There's nothing good for you. And the only thing that's good for you are like just a couple of things. Like the candy row is just huge. And then all the pop, and now we're starting to have kombucha, which is good. We're starting to actually correct these things a little bit, but they're so small. They're so insignificant. We rely on us being animals. So what I'm saying to everybody is, let's wake up together. Let's wake up and stop doing this crap. Stop saying the system of, let's just tax the rich. No, that's not going to fix anything. They can just avoid those taxes again, right? Or I don't think the problem is that rich people are rich. I think the problem is that the system allows for these inequalities. That's my problem, to say that the reason why a lot of people fight other people is because they think they're taking their money away, right? They think they're disrupting their culture because of the money that's being taken away. Really, it's money and power is really most of our arguments, most of why we fight. So why do we fight about money? Why can't we just get rid of that? And yes, you might go, oh, get rid of money, that's stupid. But money in itself is not a thing. It's not a value system. The only reason why it works is because we have a society set up in which we all cooperate. That's the only reason why money works. Money cannot work if the society fails. If the society fails, all of a sudden, let's say we had a solar flare and everything went out and we had no electronics. I want you to actually think about that. No electronics, nothing. What's the first thing you'd want to do? go get food. You go to the grocery store, and hopefully they wouldn't have figured out yet. Well, most of us don't even have money on us. We have credit cards, so they wouldn't work. So the money you do have, you want to go there as fast as possible to get food because you know that trucks would have stopped, everything would have stopped, and you would be screwed. That's what would happen right now if there's a solar flare. We would all be screwed, okay? We'd all have to fight each other. We'd all have to figure out how to make the system work, you know? And if we couldn't do that, you know, we'd crumble really quickly. So money is not a value. It does not, you cannot eat money. You cannot do anything with money. The only reason why it's a value is because it's a setup. You have a society that functions, so the money works. If society doesn't function, like what it's doing right now, it's starting to be dysfunctional, it's not going to work. So what are we going to do instead of money? You know, that's the dilemma we have right now. And if you don't see it, then I urge you to really think about what would happen if we lost all our electronics. If you couldn't access any of the money in your bank. You know, first of all, who would come and take your house? Nobody would take your house because the system would be totally gone. You know, they'd have to go back to paper and stuff and say, well, you need to leave. And the cops would be like, well, I need food from my family. Like, I'm not going to come over here to help you get this person out of the house when I have no food for my family. F you, right? So the whole system would collapse. And why don't we do that in our heads right now? Why don't we just go ahead and collapse the system so we can rebuild something that actually works for all of us? Not just for few, but for everybody. That's the system I want. I don't want a system of government and all this shit anymore. I want something that actually works for us, for everybody out there. So that was my thought, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'll put this up. Why not?